Hallo, ich bin der Dieter. Willkommen bei Loskan. Ich bin heute in Namibia und in Namibia kann man auf Hauptverkehrsstraßen herumlaufen. Da ist so wenig Verkehr, es ist unglaublich. Ich laufe mitten auf der Straße rum, kein Verkehr, kein Auto, nur wunderbare Landschaft. Ich bin mit diesem Baby unterwegs, dem Land Rover Defender 110 Explorer und will auschecken, ob sich in meinem Buch was verändert hat. Nur wo Loskan draufsteht, ist auch Loskan drin.
If you've never driven off-road, it makes sense to test your 4x4 before you head to Namibia. On one of the many private 4x4 tracks in SA, like the Gear Up 4x4 in Komiki on the Cape Peninsula. Yesterday, Franziska and myself drove up from Cape Town to Springbok, past the quirky Tankwa Karoo pad style on R355, with the classic car sticking out of the ground. Just before Calvinia, we had our very first tire puncture. This morning, we reached the tiny border crossing in Alexander Bay. There, a one-lane bridge crosses the Orange River into Namibia. And now we are on our way to Rosh Pinah, through the barren Richtersveld. To reach the Fish River Canyon, we use the less frequented dirt road from Witpütz, which traverses private farmland. So you have to open and close a couple of gates. Much easier with a passenger. Thanks, Franziska. We are approaching the lodge on picture-perfect dusty and bumpy dirt roads, through mesmerizing landscapes. Fish River Lodge is situated directly at the edge of the canyon. It's a dream. The views from the rooms are breathtaking. Highlight of the day is the sundowner at the canyon. The next morning starts with a view into the Fish River Canyon again. We can almost see our next overnight stay across the canyon on the other side, but to get there, we have to drive the long way around. But it's all worth it. By the way, don't worry about those railroad crossings. I never stop. They are nothing more than good photo opportunities. No trains ever coming. I've been to Namibia often and never saw a single one. Canyon Roadhouse is one of my favorite places in Namibia.
Der Gründer oder der Mitbegründer der Gondwana Collection, Manny Goldbeck, hat vor vielen Jahren ein kleines Roadhouse gebaut und wollte das Roadtrip-mäßig dekorieren. Also hat er einen Rundbrief an alle Farmer der Umgebung geschickt und gesagt, wenn ihr mir euren Schrott bringt, dann kriegt ihr Freibier. Und so hat er diese ganzen Sachen bekommen oder den Grundstock für die Sammlung und dann noch zugekauft bei Auktionen und so. Und ich fühle mich einfach pudelwohl hier, weil ich mein Haus zu Hause auch so einrichte.
There's so much to discover at the Roadhouse. It's a paradise for fans of rusty gold. And as always in Namibia, you naturally get your beer on tap, brewed according to the German purity law. Absolutely magnificent. However, if you open Pandora's box, you'll pay around.
It's just a short drive on the next day, only a leopard's leap away. Canyon Lodge blends organically into the surrounding rocks and belongs, like the Roadhouse, to the Gondwana collection. In some of the overnight cottages, natural rock faces are the interior walls. Fred Flintstone live. There's a metal bed on top of the roof of the historic farmhouse with the year 1913. Architecture and roof decoration are giving the owners away. Two brothers from Upper Bavaria who immigrated in 1904 and 1908 to found a farm there. According to Bavarian customs, the bed on the roof signaled that the owner is single and looking for a wife. Not so easy in the desert. After crossing the Fish River and a bit of tar on the B4 main road, we reached the remote German town of Lüderitz at the Atlantic. The impressive Felsenkirche, which means rock church in German, was built in 1911 on Diamantberg, Diamond Mountain. The best place to stay overnight in town is the Nest Hotel, right at the sea, because of the great views and fresh oysters. Besides many other historic buildings from German colonial times, the gym of the Men's Club from 1912 is still standing. Shit, what's that noise? No way! No way, that's impossible. Kolmanskop was built in only 2 years in the middle of the sand of the Namib Desert. Until the end of the First World War, the Germans mined more than 1 ton of diamonds here, equaling 5 million carats. Then the deposits were exhausted and one of, at the time, most advanced cities in Africa was doomed. In 1911, they already had electricity, a casino, library, gym, ballroom, bowling alley, and even an ice factory. What a luxury in the middle of the desert. Today, Kolmanskop is a ghost town. Some of the rooms are only accessible if you crawl through the narrow space the sand left at the upper door sills. Fascinating images of a merciless nature dominating over civilization. Today we are entering the proper Namib Desert. In the small shop of the service station in Beta, we are not only discovering cold Tafelbier, the best in the country, but unexpectedly Underberg as well. Invigorated, we approach Wolvedan's lodge. Zebras and Gemsbok are crossing the small sandy track. After a welcome drink at the main building, where we have to park our Land Rover, a ranger picks us up. He's also driving a Landy, but open. He transfers us into the mountains of red sand dunes where the aptly named Dune Lodge is situated. The luxury tented houses offer a grand view across the Namib, and on a hot day, you enter the cool of tube. Swimming pools would evaporate too quickly. Food and service at Wolvedan's are perfect. The next lodge is only about an hour's drive away and belongs to Wilderness Safaris. The approach is in proper style, across creaking wooden bridges and past dead trees, drowned in a sea of sand. Kulala Lodge was built from the surrounding mud in a typical African way. Guests sleep in 12 wonderfully thatched kulalas, the Swahili word for place of rest. In this region of the Namib Desert, you'll find some excellent lodges in a relative small area. But today's destination is my absolute favorite desert overnight stay in the country. Not only because of the warm welcome. Sossusvlei Desert Lodge combines stunning architecture, perfectly integrated into the landscape, excellent non-intrusive service, and an outstanding cuisine, paired with a well-equipped wine cellar. Ranger John, who will accompany us on a quad bike trip into the dunes later, tells us a bit about the unique lodge. Then he shows us to our magnificent room, with private bar and swimming pool with a view. It is Franziska's first time on a quad, and she obviously enjoys it very much. We are roaring up and down the dunes, a natural sandy roller coaster. Today we are rattling over a rough dirt road across the desert towards the Atlantic Ocean, past the tiny hamlet of Solitaire with petrol pumps, coffee and apple pie. In the past, I had to have tires repaired here on numerous occasions. This time we are lucky. Through Quisip Canyon, we are getting closer and closer to the sea, the misty horizon indicating the cool water. Swakopmund is Germany's southernmost North Sea coastal resort. From all the historic buildings, the Hohenzollern-Haus is my favorite. There's a great selection of restaurants in town. Let me have a look into my book to decide where we will have the Eisbein paired with beer on tap. My overnight recommendation in Swakopmund is the cool boutique hotel The Delight, part of the Gondwana collection. The roads north of Swakopmund look tarred, but they are not. They are made of compacted salt, perfect to drive on when dry, slippery when wet. The drive along the Skeleton Coast is the most fascinating part of our trip. A harsh, almost vegetation-less landscape. You often get the feeling of driving on another planet. Occasionally there are rusty remains along the way, shipwrecks and an old drilling tower, which nature reclaims slowly. At the famous gate with the skulls, we are obtaining our permit. As guests of Shipwreck Lodge, we are allowed to proceed all the way to Möwe Bay. Otherwise, Terrace Bay would have been the end point. As I didn't fill up in Swakopmund, we urgently have to find fuel in Terrace Bay. A handwritten sign promised filling station, but we couldn't find it among those few windswept buildings which make up the village. Until someone points out the little unmarked shed with the 2 pumps inside. The further way to Möwe Bay is even more remote and barren than the previous section of the route. We park our car near the seal colony of Möwe Bay. Ranger Bodo picks us up and drives us to the lodge, one of the most remote in the world. The 10 wooden chalets in the sand dunes with Atlantic Ocean views resemble shipwrecks and are a real dream. So far from civilization, the outstanding food surprises even more. We enjoy a windy lunch on the beach and another quad bike trip into the sand dunes. But the absolute highlight is a sundowner drive with Ranger Bodo into the Hoa Rusip River, where we discover desert lion and desert elephant tracks. Another reason to come back here soon, but then with roof tent and fridge. Much too early we have to head back to Swakopmund. Today will be rather urban. We are on our way to Namibia's capital city of Windhoek. From the terrace of the Heinitzburg Hotel, we are enjoying the evening view across the town.
Guten Morgen Leute, ratet mal, wo ich heute bin. Schaut euch das an hier. Bin ich an der Mosel? Oder bin ich am Rhein? Oder bin ich in Windhoek, wo der Graf von Schwerin 1914 diese Burg gebaut hat, in der man jetzt übernachten kann. Und es ist meine Lieblingsübernachtung in Windhoek. Windhoek ist die gemütlichste und kleinste Hauptstadt Afrikas. Und man fühlt sich einfach wohl hier. Es ist höher gelegen, die Luft ist gut, es ist abgasfrei, es ist ruhig, es ist beschaulich, es macht Spaß.
And the next day we have a full program. First we are meeting some old landies at the Old Wheelers Club, which also recently opened a beautiful classic car museum on their premises. The nice restaurant is open for non-members as well. And then it's Joe's Beer House for lunch. A must. Not only because of the unique decoration, but also because of their hearty meals.
Why not somewhere, drive a lonely road, staring nothing. I'm a factor. You leave me empty-handed.
Ich bin hier in Joe's Beer House und war hier zum ersten Mal 1997. Und jedes Mal, wenn ich in Namibia bin und in Windhoek, gehe ich zu Joe's Beer House rein. Es ist wie eine Institution, das muss sein, das ist irgendwie notwendig, es ist ein Wallfahrtsort für Bier- und Jägermeister-Fans.
The barber in the container at the entrance and the car wash were strategically placed.
Der Landy und ich, wie ihr seht, sind beide jetzt sauber.
And then it's time to leave the castle. Next destination, Kalahari Anib Lodge in the desert of the same name. It's a long day today, about 800 kilometers to the small border crossing on Seepkrans at the Orange River. Our day's destination, Tutwa Desert Lodge, is just on the other side in South Africa. But unfortunately the border crossing was closed on short notice, resulting in a 500-kilometer detour via Nordover and Springbok. So we arrive at my favorite South African desert lodge, Tutwa, in darkness. Only the one planned night in Tutwa would have been too short, so we opt for an additional day. It's just too much to explore on the grounds of this wonderful place. Thanks Franziska for the film sequences, despite all those flies. I mean, they all wanted to be in the video. Crazy. On the culinary side, Tutwa is a delight as well, including those cocktails at the pool.
It looks stunning, that it's exactly what I need now. It goes so well with a cigar, I think.
Yes, so this is a mojito and gin and tonic.
Wow, that is perfect.
Oh, yes.
Perfect pre-lunch drink.
That's really
So this is the gin and tonic,
This is a gin and tonic.
and this, yeah, I can see it looks good.
Yeah, this is a
You put a lot of work into this.
the mixing and all that.
The Sundowner Drive, with a magnificent Kalahari sunset, is the perfect ending for our 3-week-long trip. I don't know whether I mentioned it before, but if you want to retrace our steps, you'll find all the infos in the Dumont travel books Namibia and South Africa. I'm looking forward to your feedback. Cheers!